much, Dante Marks. It is Monday, the 14th of April 2025, and we are having a discussion that has brought so much controversies right in the country. And the controversial report is brought by the play of The Echoes of War by Butere High School girls. Remember, conversation that has been alarming across last week, and of course it's continuing to bring so much alarm towards the political space right in the country, even as the government is taking so much interest into this. What is it that the play has to do with the government? Why are we even discussing about this particular conversation? And if we are discussing about this, so what is the solution about all the things that are being included in the 41-page script, Echoes of War? Now, for years, authors have used literature or literatures to expose bad governance. You remember Viongos, I Will Marry When I Want, Devil on the Cross, Eric Ibsen's An Enemy of the People, Chinua Achebe, and Things Fall Apart, all depict oppressive measures that the government of the day had to put in place to perpetuate their innuendos, of course, their doings. Right about now, Echoes of War is still bringing the alarm and the same taste towards the government. What must be done and what should be done? Yesterday, of course, 13th of April, we had a conversation where the President William Ruto was addressing the people that attended that particular church, and said this: we must give all our children the best opportunity to be the best they can be.
A simple take is when the government speaks and tells you this is how you're supposed to speak, if they tell you this is how you're supposed to write your lines, they tell you this is how you're supposed to act, then you are prisoners of fear. And for me, it's kudos to the Butere girls. They actually directed the play to the world, because Echoes of War, if you read the script, for those who may have had the chance to read, and thanks to Cleophas Mara that he released this script, it was totally different from what the government. So that actually the government brought the A game in terms of acting the script. Where I find it challenging is, for example, the Minister of Interior, Honorable Kipchumba Murkomen. In 2013, he said, let Butere girls be taken to State House Mombasa and act the shackles of doom. Right now they are saying that the girls are being intoxicated. Really?
Used.
They are being used by who? I've had the chance to interact with the Gen Z. This is what I was discussing with a fellow writer before. I was telling him, we are at Aquarius moment in life, where the Gen Z are taking us to the root of life. We must reason. To me, that was so shameful
Indeed.
to the government.
Indeed.
And again, sorry to say this, it brings the question what the former DP asked. Where is the NIS then?
Indeed.
This thing started from their school all the way to the nationals. You want to tell me that this was the aha moment for them?
Not really.
It's crazy. It's untrue.
Indeed. Vinky, when the young are speaking so much and they're becoming so loud, what is the power that they hold?
Going back to the finance bill and what triggered the movement all the way to the parliament and everything. You remember the slogans like we are leaderless, we are partless. And I would say for the longest time in our country, we have battled the issue of tribalism. So where it gets to a point like during the elections, we have been told this community against this community. But now there's a team, there's a group that is coming up, and they are not considering the fact that you are from a certain tribe, I'm from a certain tribe. You go to a certain church, I go to a certain church. Whether you are Muslim, whether you are Christian, whether you are Hindu, there's one aspect we are fighting for. There's one aspect that is triggering us, and not just for us, it's for us as a country. By the fact that we did not come to this country as visitors. Literally, this is our country. We have been born here. So everything about us is deep inside this country. So for us, we have to come together as young people and fight what we feel is wrong. And not just by feeling it, we are also saying. Like, for example, when these leaders, they are our leaders, we have voted them in, they are supposed to lead us, but now sometimes they go on public spaces, whether it's TV, either it's the barazas, whether it's the meetings, whether it's church, and you hear the statement they are releasing out, and you are like, are they really our leaders? Are they really educated as they claim to be?
Indeed.
So we are left with questions, and the only way, when the question pile up, you eventually have to release it, the edge.
Indeed.
And that's what triggered now.
Of course.
On what he's saying,
all right.
Moses. There's a book you've said, I'll marry when I want. The best version is the Gikuyu written version, Gahikadeda. And the reason why this guy was imprisoned is because that book spoke of inequality. It was nothing to do about his love and the marriage and the camaraderie that come with it. It comes with inequality that people have. Because if I'm supposed to marry a certain lady, the society expects the lady to be a certain, she needs to act. No, you need freedom. Tell me your opinion. Yeah, you want us, I want to live in Muthaiga. And the lady says, no, I want us to live in town. It's now, let's sit and compromise. But I think also the government also should be serious. They should not deal with Gen Zs and millennials the same way they dealt with our fathers. Is this lazy narrative? They say that if you want to hide anything in an African, hide it in the books.
Inside the books.
Some of us are good readers. We have good libraries in our home. Gen Zs are these people who are reading time to time. There's pumping of knowledge. How do you hide a 41-page script? And we can.
You can't.
And we roll with over 1,000 pages of a book. Took us serious.
Right. The president says we must equally protect all our children from pedophiles, drug peddlers, and those who want to corrupt our children and teach them to hate their parents, teachers, leaders, or their nation. We must protect our children from all those. So he stated this. If you look at that particular story of the echoes of war, what is so much alarming that the government is so much involved?
One, it has nothing to do with the kids. This is a national issue that Crefas was addressing.
There are so many other scripts.
Yeah.
Why this one?
Why this one? For me, I look at it from an angle where these kids, these girls from Butere Girls, we would classify them as Gen Zs. They are brothers, they are sisters that are behind us. So I would put them in the group of Gen Zs. So these same Gen Zs are the ones that came together, and they gave the country some shake of it to a point where we are still having last year's conversation in 2025.
Indeed.
So why this specific pray is because there is an aspect of these young people coming together.
Indeed.
They are having questions. They are asking the older people in the government, in the society. These are the questions we have. And we're having these questions because you have been there. You have had the same questions before, and you have been all through since we were kids. You have been telling us you are trying to look for answers to these questions, but you have never found the answers. Now, here we are. We have the same questions. We are asking you and giving you the reference that you told us you are looking for the answers to the question, but you have never given us the answers. So now, again, we are trying. We may not have all the answers, but we have a few solutions.
Indeed.
Like if you read the play, there's a character who comes up with a project that she takes to the streets. You know, but it's been fought by everyone. So this is, it may not be the solution, but she's giving some ideas that we can implement and solve a problem that may lead to us as a country solving another problem.
Indeed.
So that's where now, why this specific?
All right. From where you speak, Vinky, of course, in addressing solutions, where we're finding different people come in handy to bring about a solution. Do you think, Grandpa, even as you speak about solution and taking a step forward, Cleophas Malala has been part of the government and has worked for the government. He's seen mistakes, he's seen things that are happening that are incorrect. Do you think it was the proper way, very intelligent, to use the kids in order to propel the message, to give back the solution?
Exactly. So he is saying that says nyegeni kunyegezana, right? This is a monkey do, monkey say business, first of all. And the form, what I love, I might not agree with Cleophas Malala because he's been in the position of power. I don't know what much he's done. Usually I'm not interested with politics, the Kenyan politics. It's just time wasting. It's pure bullshit, pure nonsense. Because when he was there, what did he champion for? But leave that him alone. It's a point also of also destruction, good destruction. One of the best terroristic devices that he's brought in the world today is resistance literature. He's done literature, and it's a form of literature where it rattles the government. And I'll give you a good example. Right here behind you guys, there is Kangemi, and I'm sure he passed through here. Coming all the way, do you know what he came to commission? Unfinished bridge. 500 meters from where he was standing, there was a garbage, filthy garbage. On that road, it has bad potholes. On the other side of the road is unfinished road. So how would I be wrong if I'm a playwright? I say the president came, commissioned unfinished bridge, because where he was going on top of the bridge, they just put some kokoto and some sand. On the other side, where they thought he would go to town, they spread loose kokoto and went. When you bring that to the picture, how is it wrong? How are you using these people? Maybe to divert a little bit, I know of a safe house. I know of a lady who takes in girls who are raped. Why are we not going for them? There's a friend of mine who champions say no to sex for water. in these slums. I know of a lady who houses young girls, young mothers who are abused by, again, the same society. So who is he protecting them from? You get?
Indeed.
If you look like right now, the campaign ya pombe ilisha, bro.
Yeah, the crackdown.
The crackdown ilisha. Look at the way there are so many zombies. Watu wamekunywa pombe wamekaa.
Indeed.
We are in a deep mess than we think.
Which can be corrected by art.
That's the only way you can communicate to this government. Which other way?
Indeed.
Which other way?
Of course, there's a time that King Kakaroto Jinga Nyinyi. These are the elements on how to correct people.
I find it funny when Kenyans actually are saying that Ruto will go. Where?
Why don't you think
2022, we were there in the politics, and I was in the front line. Where I am, there were 3 people.
Indeed.
One is a guy who was not known, one is a young businessman, and one is a guy who has been helping the society. Now, a time of voting came.
Among the 3.
Among the 3. I'm telling you a real story.
Indeed.
People forgot the person who they go to buy dawa from. The person you go when you're sick and he gives you medication. They went for the 150 shillings.
Of the person.
Of the person.
Not known.
6 months down the line, they want to come here, you know, Grandpa, 2027, we shall be conscious. I told them, this is nonsense.
Indeed.
Are we in a good time for us to change the narrative? Yes. No, Gen Z have the power.
Okay.
Gen Z have the power. But now you also don't know how they are leading us as millennials also. Because some of them, we follow them to the street, and they ended up to DM others, you know?
Yeah.
We have a chance to save, but I think the art will speak louder.
Indeed.
If you look, has it worked? Yes. If you look and in Sarafina, it changed the course of apartheid in South Africa. And again, if you look at even the shackles of doom. And again, bro, I do not understand how this government is reasoning. Because yes, they're fighting Malala, but remember, Dennis Itumbi went on his Facebook or Twitter and said that he directed a praise Kanungi Girls or something. So this is the problem. Let art speak. It's powerful. It speaks to the soul.
Indeed.
Yes.
Moses, I think there's an aspect of art bringing people together. There's the power that art brings on itself. Looking at it this way, this art, today we are here courtesy of something that was written that we can classify as art.
Indeed.
Well, we have had the likes of King Kaka calling them out. And so you ask yourself the question, where is this war? And now, where is this war? To answer this question, for them, they are saying every other professional that is going to interact with the kids in terms of art, he has to be at a TSC.
Indeed.
Now, let it look this way. A few years ago, we were there.
Indeed.
The times of Akina Grandpa, they were there. We were never, the directors we used to work with, they were never at a TSC.
Indeed.
You know, again, the only person who could say I was at a TSC is maybe our literature teachers when we were in high school, or our journalism and art-based clubs, who happens to be the patrons. And now when you come and tell us the director has to be at a TSC, stage manager has to be at a TSC, yet as a country we are still having the issues of sufficient teachers who are at the TSC.
Furthermore,
Indeed.
being a
It's
literature
becoming a crisis,
teacher doesn't make you to be a playwright or a director.
Exactly.
The teachers as well need these particular trainers to.
They do not. There's a difference of reading and teaching and reading the play.
Indeed.
If you look at Cleophas Marala's play, he uses a lot of idioms, a lot of stylistic devices that you only read in in these books, in the American books that were written 200 or 3 years, 100.
But why
years.
attack your employer?
Okay, it's like you telling me, Grandpa, welcome to my show, and I want you to answer this question this way. So what's the need of me coming? What you are simply saying, Moses, is only a simple thing. Let art flow.
Indeed.
Let it flow. Don't stop it. Because once you curtail art, and let me give you a good example. You were fighting, we kept on telling Malala, from the day Butere Girls went on stage, we kept on saying, release this thing.
Indeed.
Some of us have phones, some of us have cameras. Let's record this thing. Let the people at the National Theatre take it up and act.
Yes.
You yourself, you are a thespian.
Indeed.
Take up the thing. Let it be. But the problem is, we are people who understand by seeing.
Indeed.
Others understand by listening. Others are good in reading. Blessed are we who are good in the 360.
Indeed. And seeing is believing.
Yes. So let us see this play. Actually, I would want to sit and watch that play.
Indeed.
I want you to imagine this. And I think the president should also stop the nonsense that is there in these ministries. What will that play have done? Would it
That's the biggest question.
what's the major thing? Actually, ingeenda mpaka. In fact, and I don't know, there's one leader walimwambia, Mr. President, please allow these girls to come. Let them act in front of you, then have lunch with them.
Indeed.
It's a play. It reminds me of The Merchant of the Venice,
Indeed.
where is it the Shylock who was asking for a pound of blood or something? Then the Lady Portia goes and saves Bassanio, and she tells the Shylock, I have read your contract. Yes, you've asked for a pound of fresh.
Indeed.
A kilo. Here we give it to you. Lie down, Mr. Bassanio. Then, but as the play continues, she pauses and says, but there's nowhere
Indeed.
you spoke about the blood. So you get your pound of fresh without splitting any.
Indeed.
So what these students did, and to me, even the writer is not very much important of this case, but the emotions that were brought by the Butere girls.
Indeed.
That they brought this play and the state acted the play because they were talking of violence. Where the violence was meted to them, the tear gassing. If it's a real thing, we are seeing what's happening, bro. Kuna video ilikuwa inaenda through TikTok that the president launched something. The guys were unscrewing the plane. You saw it. So I think to me, it's the truth spoke to power. Will Gen Z change this thing? They might. They have the power.
Indeed.
Yeah.
All right, even as we end the first conversation, of course, we were just giving a development on the echoes of war. Now, when we come back, of course, for the next session, we'll get an understanding on the stability, peace, and equality, as we had mentioned earlier. And for this particular war, how do we arm ourselves for the war? How do we engage, and how do we make sure that every team that is participating in that particular war is safe? On Saturday, Deputy President Kindiki criticized the government but don't incite Kenyans. So that is Kindiki tells critics. So that mentioning that I must emphasize that even as we contribute to the growth of our democracy, we must not endanger the stability, unity and peace of our nation. It is possible to air your different views without hurting national stability, peace and harmony. Inawezekana. So as we speak, do you think that, Grandpa, we've distracted the peace and the stability of the nation?
Oh yes, we've distracted it in a very good way, because there's that guy who's sorry.
In a good way.
Actually the pressure in an excellent way, because this guy is also a joker. There is a video I was seeing today in the morning where he orders the media to switch off the cameras.
Indeed.
And he says na Mheshimiwa Rais ameleta Thanksgiving yake ya milioni 3, probably to a church.
Indeed.
The next phase we should look at is a church.
Indeed.
Because what are we doing?
The church in what context? Of course, we'll come to that conversation. Of course, you've seen video Nanaki trend about the slap. Is it the church we are speaking about to be awakened?
That's the way to go.
That's another. All right.
It also doesn't make sense in this perspective. These people will come to, these leaders of ours, they will come to church. Whether it's our own church, they have come, or whatever church they go when we are watching the news, and they'll go and say, mimi nimepeana zawadi yangu ya milioni 2, milioni 3, ama whatever. So the cameras are there, they are live. All right. Probably sometimes it's when they are live streaming, not even recorded. But now, when the prey comes, when anything to do with that, they will order.
Indeed.
There the cameras go off.
Indeed.
And before you go for your break, do you know the Catholic Church in Kenya, in every Lenten season, they have plays that has a theme, and they usually go hard in government. And also, do you know this was not even a lethal play? It was not lethal. There were other, what about these 6 other lethal plays? Why this one?
Why this one? That's the biggest question, of course, I've been asking all along.
They were more lethal. they were more lethal.
Indeed.
This was a child's play.
Indeed.
I wish you can get to read these plays.
No,
the
I
emphasis.
think
The emphasis.
as a country, we need.
All right. So, Vinky, hold it there. I'll give you a chance, of course, to address the matter as well. So when we come back, of course, we'll like to understand the distraction in it, and also how we will handle that. Is there a more better description on this particular echoes of war? Even as we continue with the conversation, remember you can join us now on Facebook and YouTube. Is the hashtag echoes of war, and of course use the hashtag the morning drift. What is this particular distraction that is hidden away from the echoes of war? Was it just a shadow, or there's more to come? Don't go too far.
Save a Life is a non-profit organization that has taken the front line in transforming lives in the entire country. So far, we have transformed life of over 100,000 people through our programs, which include medical support, youth empowerment, street family program, feeding program, and climate change. Join us today as we transform lives. As we always say, service to humanity is service to God. Save a life, transforming lives.
Taarifa zinapochipuka na kutufikia papa hapa kwenye makao makuu ya chumba cha habari cha runinga ya Lookup, kwenye taifa, kwenye serikali, kwenye bunge, tunajitosa hadi kwenye sauti ya wenyeji ili kupata tu maoni ya wenyeji kuhusu masuala haya yanayochipuka.
Maana hii kitu inaenda kuumiza Mkenya kwa tax.
Hakuna kitu tunafurahia. Nothing. Absolutely nothing.
Sisi tunaumia, si ati tunaumia ile ya kiukweli. Juu maisha ni ngumu.
Na bila shaka tunapata maoni yao ili sauti yao ipate kusikika. Na watasema hili, waseme lile, watasema hiki, na waseme kile, almuradi sauti yao ipate taa.
Mambo ya mafuta tena imekuwa ni changamoto zaidi kwa kila mtu, wa bodaboda.
Uchumi ikikuwa stable, tunaamini mambo itakuwa sawa sawa.
Kwanza liko na ria wa boda, mama mboga nini. Hawa sasa ndio wamefinywa zaidi man.
Mtazamaji, hii ni bunge la wenyeji.
Feeling like unwinding and calming your nerves down after a long week? I'm Nika Kala. Join me on the Nakala Report this coming Friday and every Friday at 8 p.m. only on Lookup TV. At Nakala Report, we turn the insanity into sanity and sanity into insanity.
much. Welcome back. If you've not read the Echoes of War, then you might perhaps want to have a look at least on the 41 pages that have been written by Cleophas Malala. Now, before we went for a break, we were asking a question. Do you think that the alarming concern about the Echoes of War is just but a distraction? And if it is, what is this particular distraction? Ladies and gentlemen, you can join in the conversation on Facebook and YouTube. Use the hashtag Echoes of War and use the hashtag The Morning Drift. Perhaps who would want to start about that? You're saying something about the distraction.
I know one problem we have as Kenyans as a country, majority of us don't lead.
Indeed.
So I would challenge every Kenyan who is watching the show, who is going to watch the show online. Challenge yourself. Sacrifice your 2 hours, lead the prayer. Lead the 41 pages. And then as a country, let's just come up with a plan where if we have to pay 500, 1,000 shilling for the SPNs to come together and stage that prayer. There's something, Echoes of War has something that we need.
Indeed.
We need to sit down and consume, whether we are going to consume by reading or we are going to consume by it going on stage.
How long
but
are you looking for to consume this?
I feel personally, the project needs to go on stage. Whether it will be at KNT, whether it's on a public space, the project needs to go on stage.
It has gone on the social media stages.
We need it to go on stage. It was meant for the stage. Let all the groups at KNT, Marara has his own production company, the Milan Production. There's actually the other day I was seeing people tagging Adoni of Tuari for the birds. They have done tomboyas. Let them get triggered to consume the project and convert it to a prayer and let it go on stage.
Indeed.
You know, when you speak about people coming together to act, you remind me of of the greatest man in wisdom, King Solomon. And in his greatest wisdom, he decides to fall in love with Cleopatra.
Indeed.
And what Solomon does, actually, is the only chapter that is written with folk, and he describes the looks of his father David to a woman, and it creates a whole distraction in the Book of Solomon, and he brings a very agitated. For those who love what we call subversive art, it's a form of use of raw. Actually, thanks God for that point. This is not the first time subversive art is used to the government. Even in love, if you read the whole of the Book of Solomon, it's all nude. It's all nude. It's and that's a whole in the holy text. If you read the Bhagavad, I'm privileged to have done 8 religions. If you read the Bhagavad Gita, you'll enjoy the consciousness of a man. So what destruction has brought, it's a good destruction. Because now we can speak of governance from a good side.
But for the government, does it look good?
It's how you take it, bro. It's how you take it. Because look here.
The government takes this in a bad way, in a very bad way. The intentions of Cleophas Malala and the Butere Girls were plainly good.
That's what I'm saying. This thing is two-way. We might believe this guy, he could be here to just politics.
The issue is not
also look at this way, the finance bill is coming. From some quarters we are here is 4.2 trillion.
Here and there.
Then we were told no, they are taking us in. But don't forget, we also read the finance bill, the last one, and we were able to decode and we brought the conversation online. Even this one, whether you are going to bring even 500 pages, you are going to speak about it. Why is it also a distraction, a negative distraction to us? Remember, the president has been doing these, the so-called tours. And everywhere he's going, truly speaking, people have been going and recording and showing the negative side of it.
Indeed.
Now, my question is the president really working? Is his team really working? When you ask yourself this question, for me, it will have been a point where you reflect yourself. You know the way they say that the art is a mirror of the society? To me, it's the time that he strips naked and he looks at himself in the mirror. Because ataona if there is, kuna mtu alimwambia, unajua mkubwa, leo tumeweka tanki ya maji Amboseli. He needs to come and see that tank. But now what they are doing is they are bringing that tank in the morning, wanaweka some fake pillars, then wanatoa kitoka. Wanaipeleka another place.
So there's no tank there.
So to me it's a distraction, but there is a lot that is being hidden. We don't know whether if this Cleophas Malala is also bringing some distraction also, because we are no longer talking of serious things. You focused.
Maybe they wanted someone that knows art, and because we are in the art space, and the drama, of course, is coming in handy for the nationals. Maybe that was also a part of consideration when the government was strategizing on this particular distraction. Mind you, also we earlier on we had looked into the Mount Kenya region tour, where there was so much that happened there. There were conversations, there were interviews, there were public addresses that happened there and occurred, which of course many were, as you'd mentioned earlier, became a point of consideration with everyone on the nose of the president. All this now is shading away because we are being introduced to another new script for the echoes of war, which of course now people will not consider about the Mount Kenya region, but will focus on why is this particular discussion on the echoes of war. In the same effect, if Cleophas Malala, of course from the party of UDE, bringing this to life, didn't he know about the effect that this thing will particularly bring?
Cleophas is a creative, is an artist by nature, and probably by profession, by studying it with the online or going physical on class. So, and then this is the same Creo who has been a senator. This is the same Creo who has been a Secretary General for UDA. So, Creo, there's something Creo knew. Again, combining that with what triggered him, to combine the two factors, the three factors, to craft a cause of war.
Indeed.
So, there's something he knew. There's something he knew.
Which might be that something corruption?
If you pick it up from there, our neighboring friends in Uganda, led by Stella Nyanzi, they staged the same thing. Like she went to draw on writing. And what did she do? She sought asylum. Is it in Germany or something? But the question is, Moses, I wish Cleophas Malala can stop now this narrative of Butere Girls. Now, let's deal with the content in it.
Yeah. Let it come back now to us.
Now let's deal with the content.
Yes.
Because, for example, how many people can Moses also lead? You've been a Thefsian. It paid us. Was it 300 bob or 200 bob when you're acting? You know, it has made us who we are. Why can the government put all this money? Do you know how much it is to move a president even from State House to Nairobi town?
How to Amboseli?
Yeah,
it's crazy budget.
True.
Indeed.
Bro, I can tell you, we walk outside here, you see how many men are just hanging at the corner streets, at the bus stations. But these are young people who can be put in groups and be helped in putting the cottage industry. Echoes of war goes beyond this. Because if you look at Tala, Machakos, that the Ukambani region, I think sa ndio msimu wa maembe, si ndio? A lot of mangoes are going to waste. Yet here in Kenya, we are pumped with carbonated drinks. Why can't we have cottage industry in that place? Didn't you see the foolishness of a humankind where ati maziwa ni mingi sana? Was it in Nyandaro or where? Hadi wanamwaga. Ati nyanya zimekuwa mingi hadi
tuzitupe.
Are you seeing the foolishness of human mind? Yet we have professors, researchers in the government. Why wouldn't a hungry man be a troubled man? So this conversation for me needs to be shifted from now the literature point of view, for us who can decode it, and that's why I'm able to move from the Bible to this, to this, to this, let us now give the narrative. If it's where I come from, I'm telling people, you guys voted for the wrong man, you are going to vote for him again. Yes, it's time to tell people the truth. You think you're going to remove Ruto? No, you're going to vote for him again. Why? Kitu kidogo.
Indeed.
Eric Wanaina, ni nchi ya kitu?
Kidogo.
That's what we can say is our big brother. Then our own brother, King Kaka, you say at Twitter, Wajinga sisi.
Wajinga ni zizi.
And you amini, see the Kikuyu nation have been saying they've done this.
Indeed.
Do you see how they came out in large numbers?
Indeed.
With these guys of, kujeni mchukue pesa, kuongea, sijui kudanganywa ni elfu tano. What kind of bullshit is this?
Dakika mwisho kimewaramba.
I don't know whether you're seeing.
Of course.
Yani, it's purely nonsense. So and that's why you find like people like Marala, they enjoy this space.
Yeah.
They enjoy because they look at art from a point of freedom.
So above that, you also knew the effect that this entire thing will bring.
I'm a writer.
What's his safety now as we speak?
Huh?
What is his position of safety as we speak?
It is his mind in the pen and paper.
That's why his car was vandalized?
Trust you me? Trust you me? If Marala is smart, I'll never go back to politics.
Yeah. Maintain.
I'll maintain in the pen and paper.
Indeed.
There's a power of pen and paper.
And
there's beauty. Let me tell you, it's like writing a letter to a lady and she replies with the same strength.
Amazing.
You know, like, when you jot a love letter and she doesn't tell you, oh, thank you, I miss you. She responds with the same force. There's a beauty that comes.
So it's a mission accomplished to Malala.
He has awoken.
He's satisfied.
Yeah,
He's satisfied.
He has called us back to write-ups.
Indeed.
And that's why people like you have seen the need for us to come
and have this conversation.
and have this conversation.
Yeah.
I was telling him, there is a project that you are having with him starting May. And I loved, and it was inspired by Binyavanga Wanaina, may his soul rest in peace, where we used to hit poetry in the streets of Nairobi in a cloudy, noisy bar, and drunk men would listen. That's where we want to take back literature.
Amazing.
Let people listen. Let people see. The government cannot stop.
Indeed. If it can't stop, of course, I'm seeing the last lines where Sultan says, "My sons and daughters, rise, all of you. You have shown courage and ingenuity. But remember, true power lies in unity, not division." Mustafa, your telemedicine project will be implemented nationwide, which has occurred, of course.
Yeah.
Every media house within and beyond is speaking about the same echoes of war. Anifa, you will work with our cybersecurity team to ensure such incidences never take root again. I have been well briefed about the expectations you carry in your womb. I undertake my government will help you deliver those expectations safely. Of course, we'll discuss about the expectations after this engagement Echoes of Woikiisha. Then says, as for the rest of you, you are the future of this nation. Of course, we believe the Gen Zs. To the people of the Velvet Emirates. Now, the war is over. That will be our last line even as we end the conversation. But above all, let's embrace what Sultan says in the Echoes of War, that we need to come at a point where we embrace unity. Yes, we want to embrace unity with the government. We want to come in handy for the government. But it seems we have a challenge in administering this unity. The government now comes in handy when we are complaining about unemployment crisis, the youths do not have job, there is the problem with the finance bill. So how will we unite the people, that is wenyeji, and the government?
The unity comes from, and I love what you've said. And that's what I've told you. If there is a the best political satirical write-up that has ever been done, it's this. Because you're being told, young people, you're the future of tomorrow. Right?
Indeed.
If Binyavanga never made us to be writers, will never sit here.
Indeed.
If Kenya National Theatre never give us chance to go and act,
Indeed.
and big thanks to Peter Mudamba, we will not be here.
Indeed.
What we are simply saying is, and what Gen Z is saying and I'm hearing, we are no longer the future of tomorrow. We are the future of now. It's now. There's no tomorrow.
Indeed.
So it's the government to pause and let's go back and clean up.
Indeed.
Mtu afanye kazi yake.
Indeed. Even as you see that, of course, with the expectation of unity, we expect when you Gen Zs, when the Gen Zs, not a Gen Z.
Yeah.
So when the Gen, at heart.
Yeah, I work with them.
Nice.
Yeah.
So when the Gen Z raise a voice towards what they feel like the government is not doing, they expect, of course, administration to embrace this. But in the near future, the administration is not working towards elevating their interest. It's Tumboli Silishiba at the end of the tunnel. Yeah. So what will be the best approach towards this particular entire engagement?
One, the gap that we are talking about that can be fixed by the unity aspect. We saw what these girls did. They went on stage, did the national anthem, walked out. They did not start fighting with the policemen. They did not start quarrels with their teachers, their directors and everything. They went on stage, and then now that triggered another whole. All the schools that were there, that were supposed, they said, us again, we are not going on stage in support of Butere Girls.
Amazing.
So that means there's an aspect of unity with these kids.
Indeed.
These are kids who had the uniforms, and now they are bringing now from the schools walls and the corridors, they are taking it over to the nation. So for the play, it did what it was supposed to do. There's an aspect in art we say the piece of art outlived its creator. So echoes of war outlived Cleophas Malala. That's why it happened on Thursday. But it's on today it's on a Monday morning we are having this conversation. The whole nation was having this conversation the whole of the entire weekend. Yesterday I was listening to a Twitter space by Debarinea, and it was the guests were Tom Ojieda, Senator Mutata, over 10 professionals. They were there, they were having this conversation. So literally Echoes of War did what it was created to do. And now it's for us as a nation, the lessons it was supposed to give us as a nation. It's high time as a nation we decode.
Indeed.
For us artists, we decode, we pass over to the society. For those who are observant, they decode the play and observe and let it to the societies.
Indeed.
Now it's for us as a nation to pick it up.
Indeed.
And do what the play wanted us to do.
Right.
The future of now, literally the nation we are at now, it's now, there's no tomorrow.
Let's see. We'll wait for that. Of course, as you add on what you want to say, why were there chaos? Why were the police involved? And why are some of the people hurt in that particular scenario that occurred in Nakuru?
I'll answer you also in a very poetic way. Have you ever written a letter to a lady, and this lady, her photo stands like 10 meters before in front of you?
Indeed.
Will you start by saying, hello dear, I miss you? No, you start by striking to her heart. My dear girl, your photo stands 10 feet from where my eyes are. Then you start.
Indeed.
That's what this play did. Is either this nation have not heard, or you're all confused. And I'll give you a simple way of understanding where we are, Moses. So Malala lights the play. It is silent until national levels. It's ought to be performed at the presidential, well, call it pavilion, or whatever it is. At this stage, the actor, the writer of the play knows it's gonna rattle, it's gonna cause some rattles. It will shake. Then whoever felt uncomfortable releases the whole thing.
Indeed.
And the country reacts. Then Butere Girls decide our national anthem is not only a song, but a complete solemn prayer.
And performance on its own.
And a performance of it all. But then if you read the national anthem in English version, no, Swahili doesn't bring the force, the emotions. That's why I've started by giving you an example of a letter writing. It brings the solemn soul of that prayer. Then they leave the stage. Once you leave the stage, what did the country do? In its own madness, as usually be, they brought in the force of war. So from a real thing that was theatrical, not went to a real thing where even the state acted. How do you tear gas these girls?
How do you tear gas a body?
How? All right.
I think
we're going to wind the conversation, all right?
Grandpa, talking of the national anthem, and then now immediately they get out of stage, now the country takes it over, and it becomes a cause of war.
Indeed.
Look at the first stanza of the national anthem. O God of all our creation,
Indeed.
bless this land and nation. Then what happens immediately after the two lines?
Indeed. All right. So I want you guys to tell us. I want you guys to. That's a parable. I want you guys to tell us. Now, because we've embraced echoes of war, even the small children now know about this. The little children from PP1 knows about. There's a school somewhere that is chachishering in the online. What is the safety? I think you tell us. What is the safety of Cleophas Malala and? What is the safety of the students in Butere Girls, even as we end the conversation, please?
For Cleophas, as an artist, is protected by the fact that art gives him, as an artist, art gives him the freedom. And the gods. For us artists, we say the gods. This is something we have inherited from our ancestors, who during their time were artists, the likes of Binyavanga, the likes of JM, the likes of Tomboya. So it's, and I feel the gods of our country who happen to be artists, where Binyavanga is right now, he's like, viva Cleophas, viva girls of Butere Girls. I feel the same thing for the gods of our country who have rested, who wanted the country to go forward, who I feel if they were alive today, we wouldn't be where we are, the likes of Tomboya. In their graves, I feel they are like, viva, viva, viva. Viva for the echoes of war, of what you have triggered for the nation. So for me, the simplest way to answer the question, Cleophas Malala should be triggered to go even on, and should even next year give us another beautiful play. And even the year after that.
Indeed.
Yes.
Being creative.
Yes, continue being creative.
Right.
And it should not be intimidated or get to a point now the government is trying to censor by telling him these are the words you should not try and put in your next play. Unless, like the grandpa has told us, unless he's trying to fool us as a nation. Because again, that's something we have.
And many Kenyans
you are an
are waiting
artist,
to that.
and then you get an opportunity to be nominated to be a senator, a governor, or whatever, an MP. You get there and you bow down.
All right. Allow Grandpa to share with us the safety of these particular students. They are minors, but involved in a very millennial thing.
You know, my dear girls of Butere, Najib Mahfouz wrote on a story of a half a day where he says he went to school when he was a small boy, and by 2 a.m. the streets had changed. The boys in the school became his boyfriends, and the girls who were in the school became girlfriends and sweethearts. To you, you've become our girlfriends and sweethearts. Do not relent that pain. And I love the alumnus of Butere Girls. Leave alone the first lady, because I have not heard her speak. There are lawyers who've come out. They've taken over TikTok. Their safety is assured in the pen and paper. Because some of us have written. I do a lot of letters and I release them to the social media. And thanks also, he also shares a lot of my letters even to the president. But we've had someone who have opened up the space. So their safety in the power of pen. And I usually say, when the pen kisses a paper, the madness must flutter with imagination.
execution is much greater.
Rithon.
For that. All right, but it's amazing that how you bring it out, and of course I believe if the Butere is watching right now, they've been impacted by the wise words from the grandpa himself. All right, thank you so much, Finky. Thank you so much, the grandpa, for your humble time. It's a pleasure to have you, both of you. Any bibliophile, right? Ngoja tupigie poem nyingine deadly.
He's a collector. I don't know how many books he's collected right now.
I have over 100 books.
Amazing, amazing.
Okay.
Amazing.
Yeah. We're also having a project. We're inviting you on 23rd of this month.
Kabisa.
Where we are doing bar stories and letter reading.
Indeed.
We shall be reading letters when we are drunk.
Can't wait.
And reading poetry when we are sober.
Much as yoni kitu unasoma tu. All right, thank you so much. Jamstick Almatik says some leaders misuse power and overwhelm the citizens in their ruling, yet we as the citizens are the ones that vote for them. Why attack students for expressing their thoughts? Anna Karaoke says that was absurd. Honestly, Sarafina Part 2 continues. We are awaiting to that as well. So in the near future, of course, in the conversations, we'll be embracing these as far as the echoes of war is concerned, and particularly the conversation doesn't end now, because the grandpa says that this is a conversation of now and today. It's not a conversation of the future. If we are to correct the government or align things, it shall start now. They are saying that Cleophas Malala is not a teacher and is bringing so much divided concerns towards this particular conversation. But ladies and gentlemen, we've tried to just elaborate on the echoes of war, the stage play becoming a state's say. The government is concerned about this particular play. So many other scripts will be written, both for the film and theatre. Do you think they'll bring the same concern? Will other script writers try to copy the elements of their big boss Cleophas Malala now, or they'll try to embrace art in the best way possible? But allow me to end it in that particular position, even as we wait to what will become out of the particular art designs and literature designs that they will see. Above all, literature is just but a reflection of the society and the happenings in the society. See you tomorrow as we now shape the elements of health. Wacha tuende tujiangalie afya, manake echoes of war imekuwa ya kututia wasiwasi. We need to check, of course, on our mental health. See you tomorrow. My name is Moses Okech. This is The Morning Dish. My director has been King Dantimax.